most effective ways of teaching children to write is through dictation. And in the beginning, dictate letter sounds. For example, the teacher might say, "I want you to write an A," and the children then try and write the A on a board, their own board, A, or on paper, A, A. If only one or two children are involved in the dictation, then it is easy to see if it is written neatly and with the correct formation. But that is impossible in a whole class situation, so the teacher could demonstrate it on the board after calling out the sound, such as, "Did you remember when you wrote the A to go up and round and back up to the top again and down? Did it look like this? Well done. Give yourself a tick. And now try a P," and so on. Dictating a few letter sounds every session improves the skill of writing, as well as continuing to revise the letter sounds. Now, this is enormously helpful to the children who have poor memories and who find it difficult to remember the letter sounds. Now, the next stage is to show the children how to write words. And for this skill, the children initially need to be taught to hear the sounds in words, that is segmenting. And a way of developing this skill is to model it by calling out words and then saying the sounds, such as bus, b-a-s, pet, p-et, or hot, h-ot, and so on. Usually 6 to 10 words is enough for each session. And it is not long before the children, after being told a word, are able to say the sounds by themselves, without any of your help. And it only takes a minute for each session. And somehow, holding up a finger for each sound seems to make it easier for the children to hear the sounds in words. And it certainly keeps them active. And at the end of each quick session, it works well to demonstrate on the board how we actually write words. So, for example, you might say that you would like to write the word hat, and then ask the children to call out the sounds for you. Now, what is the first sound? Right. Put that on the board. Now, hat, h, and get the a out of the children. A, h, a. Nearly finished. Hat, h, a, and get the t. And then we can say, well, we've written the word hat. Let's just check ourselves. Hat, hat. Well, that's right then. And once a child can hear the sounds in words and knows how to write the letters for those sounds, then he or she will be able to write words from dictation. So then each dictation session would include dictating a few letter sounds and a few words. And it works well to do a little and often rather than have a long session. When dictating words, it is important to choose words that are regular and that use the letter sounds that have been taught. This page, which is downloadable, provides samples of suitable words. For example, if the letter sound B has been taught, then any of the B words and the previous words would be suitable for dictation. The speed at which children are able to learn the letter sounds varies enormously. And when teaching an individual child, it is possible to teach the letter sounds at the pace that the child can learn them. And that is a luxury. In a whole class situation, it is very different. There are many children in a class and they need to be taught at the same time. With whole class teaching, it is important to have a good pace to the teaching, and it is recommended that 5 letter sounds are taught each week. That's 1 a day. Sometimes there are special circumstances and a slightly slower pace can be used. The really important thing to remember is that the children should not be asked to read words that use letter sounds that have not been taught. That means, in the early steps, keeping to regular words that can successfully be blended. And with knowledge of just 18 letter sounds, hundreds of words can be blended, such as p-egg, peg, h-op, hop, k-ick, kick, t-ag, tag. And this applies to writing words as well. and word banks of suitable words have been provided for downloading, and many of the words will be the same for reading and writing. The difference is that some words are avoided for writing, such as words with double letters, like bell or rabbit, because the children may not know at this stage when to use double letters. And this also applies to words spelt with a K, such as kick. The children will know the sounds, k, I, k, because they can hear them, but which k to write? The caterpillar k or the kicking k? And at this early stage, we tend to use the caterpillar k for dictation. And by carefully selecting the words, the children can spell words correctly just by listening for the sounds and writing the appropriate letters. And after blending words a few times, most children can say the words without blending, which of course is the aim of the teaching. Then blending is only needed for new words that have not been read before. And similarly, after a word has been segmented and written a few times, it becomes known. And then segmenting is only needed for words that haven't been written before.